Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today we have episode 15 of Real Talk for Lightworkers, which is why finding your passion is going to lead you to your deepest insecurity. So, what I want to talk to you about today is why finding your passion is going to lead you to your deepest insecurity, obviously. So, if you have ever started out down your path of saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to find who I am. I'm going to find my passion. I'm going to find my purpose. I'm going to step into my light work. I'm committing to the universe that I'm going to do what I came here to do. And I want to find my gifts. I want to find my way of being in this world. And I'm ready, okay? And then what happened was, probably, right? You started to do some of this internal work. You started to remember these things you loved as a child. You started to do some of the emotional mastery work, and you remembered aspects of yourself that you had forgotten. You got a little like a scent on the trail, essentially, right? Like there was something that was like, okay, this calls to me. I want to start reading about this subject, or I want to start pursuing this, or I want to start trying this, or I want to look into this, or whatever, right? So you kind of got on the trail. Either that, or maybe you thought like, I actually know what it is. Like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I should start going down that path, right? So either way, it was like a little thing or a big thing. Doesn't really matter, right? The point is that you realized something. You remembered something, and you got on the trail, right? And so then you started to follow this, right? You started to go down the path. You started to go down the trail. You started to go down. You started to see, and maybe you had some of these moments where you were like, oh my God, this is it. Like, I feel timeless. I feel like time has dropped away. I feel like totally inspired. I feel totally aligned. I feel like this is it, right? And you had these kind of blissful experiences. And perhaps you had a couple of them, right? One or two or three. And then, right after that, you started to doubt yourself, right? So you have this inkling. You sort of start to follow it. You start to feel this blissful feeling. You start to feel this timeless feeling. And then you start to think these doubting thoughts. Oh my God, what are people going to think of me? Oh my God, is this crazy? Maybe I'm crazy. How is this thing ever going to make me money? How am I ever going to support myself doing this? Is this really a thing? This was the thing that kind of got me rejected when I was a kid. I don't know that I should really follow this. Maybe this makes me selfish. Maybe, like, who am I to follow my passion? Who am I to follow bliss? What if this thing has absolutely no purpose and no service to other people, right? What if this is just a completely selfish thing that I'm doing? And then you started to have doubts about yourself, right? Like, oh man, like I'm not good enough to do this. I'm not strong enough to do this. Who am I to think that I could possibly succeed in this thing? Who am I to think that this could ever be anything? I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too fat. I'm too short. I'm too all these things, right? And then you crashed. You crashed hard. And you thought, oh my gosh, right, I can't do this. Maybe I don't have a purpose. Maybe I don't have a passion. Maybe this isn't really even a thing, right? And perhaps all of these people who are talking about this passion purpose thing, like, that works for them because they were young enough when they started, or they were talented enough already, or they had something that I didn't have. They had support that I don't have. They had money that I don't have. They had circumstance that I don't have, and it's never going to work for me, and it works for them, and that's great for them, but it's not for me. And then you kind of just go back into your hole, and you just think, I'm just going to keep living my life the way that I am, right? And then you do that for a little while, and it feels terrible, right? It feels safe for the first little bit, right? You kind of feel relieved to let yourself off the hook, and then you come back around eventually just thinking like, oh man, this is so unsatisfying. I hate my life. I want to find my purpose. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to find my purpose. I swear, I'm going to do it. Like, blah, blah, blah. And then this whole cycle starts again, right? Has this ever happened to you? Right? So basically you say, okay, my life sucks. I'm going to do it. I'm ready. I'm willing. And then you start to go for it, and you start to feel it. And then all these doubts creep in, and you don't know how it's going to work out, and you don't know if you're going to be able to do it, and you don't see the future. You don't see the path. And so then all you feel is doubt and fear and insecurity, and all the reasons you haven't done it for your whole life come up, and so you quit and run away. And you think, man, there must be something to this, right? Like, I must not be meant to do this, because that was so hard and that was so horrible. And so basically what I want to let you know today, okay, is that if you are someone who, again, is in a trauma drama life, okay? If you're in a life where you feel like very disconnected from yourself, where you feel like you hate your job, where you feel like you have a lot of self-sabotaging behaviors, where you feel like you have no energy for doing what you want to do, you feel completely disconnected from your body and have a whole bunch of trauma with that, you feel really messed up in your relationships, right? If you have these kind of like really big, life-impeding, horrible stuff in your life that feels so terrible, I want you to understand, okay, that the journey that you're going to take from where you are right now to where you're living your purpose and your passion, all right, is going to be a hero's journey. And this is like a tale as old as time, all right? The hero's journey is basically the dude or the woman, right? Hero or hero's journey, who hears the call, refuses the call, hears the call again, says, okay, I'm going to do it. And then they go on this whole journey. And the journey is hard. And they face challenges. And it's like the first step out of the gate is a really hard step, right? Is you face some challenge or some horrible monster or boss or whatever that you're going to have to fight, right? And you're going to have to battle with, and you're going to have to overcome. And then you're going to go on a little bit longer, and then you're going to do it again, and then you're going to go on again, and then you're going to do it again. And basically what I want to say is that you need to expect, all right, that it is going to be normal, that on your path you're going to face all your deepest insecurities, all your deepest fears, all your deepest stuff, because that stuff is what you need to go through in order to become the person that you are, okay? We all came, light worker or not, every person on the planet, well, technically I believe that every person on the planet is a light worker, and it's just that some people are farther along on their awakening journey than others. That's really all that it is. I don't think that there are really actually people who aren't light workers on the planet. I just think that there are just people who are awake to it, and there are people who aren't yet. And so the thing is, right, we all come into these lives and into these bodies and into these experiences where who we are is squashed, who we are is rejected, who we are is we are told that who we are is not good, right? And we develop these insecurities, and we develop these views of ourselves that are completely out of alignment with the truth of reality, okay? So what I want you to understand is that because you are divine, having a human experience, the way that the closed down, fear-based perspective perceives the divine is always that it's wrong and that it's lacking and it shouldn't be that way. Okay, so this is the thing. You step down as divine, as divinity, as the wholeness of who you are, and you started to express that. And because we live in a fear-based world on purpose, we live in a fallen world on purpose, that divinity in you was seen as lacking, wrong, bad, right? And it was rejected, and you then rejected it. And so in order for you to come back to living as the divine light that you are, right? So you all have it. You already have it. It's already there. You're not going to develop it, okay? You're not going to gain it. You're not going to achieve it. It's already there. This is what we discover on the hero's journey. This is how the hero's journey always ends, is that I had it in me all along. I had it in me all along. But you have to go on the journey to see, right? Okay. So you're going to discover that it's there, it's been there all along, you've had it all along. But you had to go through these processes and these experiences of being rejected and it being not seen as what it really is, and of going so far away from it to truly know it. Okay? So if you are starting to think that this life of finding a passion is not for you because it's too hard and it's too scary and all these blocks come up, and it feels horrible to think all these thoughts, and so these horrible thoughts must be true, and it feels so real that you're wrong and that you're bad and that you can't do this, that it must be true that you're wrong and you're bad and you can't do this, and if you're feeling like No, like life is showing me every single time I take a step in this direction, look, this thing happens. Like this obstacle happens. Something gets in my way. This person tells me I'm stupid. Like all this stuff. Look, it's not working. I would say to you, no. That is how you know it is working. That is how you know you're on the path. That is how you know you're stepping in the right direction. If there's no challenge coming up, if you're not failing, if you're not facing your deepest seated, like, oh my gosh, this is what's wrong with me though, right? This is the flaw. This is the thing that was rejected. This is what I have known for my whole life is what's wrong with me. If you're not facing that stuff and taking your emotional mastery skills and using them to see them in a new way and to process them in a new way or whatever, then you're not on the path. Okay? That's what I want you to understand. Okay, Martha Beck calls it the ring of fire. That when we start to step into who we truly are, most of us are living out here in what she calls the shallows. Okay? And that's what it is, like a fear-based life where we're not really understanding who we are, where we're just trying to manipulate love out of people and manipulate ourselves to be worthy of love, and we're just doing things that we've been told that we should do, and we're rejecting aspects of ourselves, and we're in self-sabotaging behaviors, and everything's very dramatic, and we believe in suffering and all of this. That's the shallows, okay? That where life just doesn't feel good. And I believe that we call it the shallows because it feels so shallow. It feels so hollow. It's not fulfilling, right? You can get all the money in the world, you can get all the sex in the world, you can get the sexiest body, you can get all the cars, It's still not going to feel like anything, right? Because it's shallow. You're disconnected from yourself. You're disconnected from who you are. And we got here, right? Through that rejection process. Through that forgetting that love is infinite. Through that forgetting that love that you've always wanted is completely within you, that it is who you are, and that it's not coming from outside. You don't need to be approved of to be loved. Anyways, right? All of these things. And so we live in the shallows. And then we hear the call, right? We hear the call to wake up. We hear the call that there's more to life than just this. We hear the call that there's more to life than just me and what I'm going to get out of it, right? You hear, you feel, you know there's something greater than yourself for you to do, something greater than yourself that you are connected to, that there's something greater for you to be doing, right? You hear the call. And then you have to pass through the ring of fire before you enter that core of peace, right? And this is where we all stop. Because we think if the challenge happens, right? If the opposition happens, when all my doubts and my fears come up, and I, like these things that I've been believing about myself for my whole life, all these thoughts that feel totally terrible, I believe them, and they start to come up even more as I start to look at becoming who I truly am, right? That must be wrong, and then we bounce back out into the shallows, right? And so what I want you to understand is that ring of fire lets you know you're on the right path. So rather than running away from it, you need to run into it. And I know that is like the most counterintuitive thing, right? Your fear brain is going to tell you, no, I can't do that. I can't let go of diet mentality. I can't express myself who I really am. I can't let go of these terrible relationships. I can't let go of being a people pleaser. I can't let go of never causing conflict. I can't let go of all these things. I can't express who I am, blah, 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 because like it's horrible and people don't like it. And they're not going to love me, and they're going to judge me, and I'm going to be alone, and I'm going to be poor, and I'm going to be on the street. I'm going to be a bum begging on the street. I'm going to be all of these things. Like, all of these fears are going to come up. My parents are going to reject me. My wife is going to leave me. My husband's going to leave me. I'll never find someone. I'll be poor. I'll never have a job. All of these things, all of these fears, right? That's all going to come up, and you're going to have to face it. You're going to have to face it and do it anyways. That's what this path is. Okay? The hero's journey, the people that learn to actually live their purpose, are the ones that faced all that fear, faced that fire, faced that opposition, faced those challenges, and said, okay, this is horrible, and this is hard, and this is scary, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm not going to run back to the shallows. I'm not going to run away from it. I'm not going to turn around. I'm going to face into it. I'm going to go for it. Like I said, like I have had literal moments where as I was starting to awaken on my path, I knew that there were things that I needed to do, right? And the anxiety that was inside of me about doing these things and being these things and expressing this stuff was so intense that when I just sat with the emotion like I tell you to do, I literally thought I was going to die. Like, I actually thought it was going to kill me. And I don't know how else to say it. Like, literally, physically, I thought my heart was going to stop. And I remember sitting there saying, you know what? This anxiety that I feel right now about facing this thing, this anxiety is there all the time. Like, if I'm really honest with myself, I don't feel good ever. I'm always running from this feeling. I'm always running from this fear. I'm always running from this doubt. I'm always trying to numb myself from this intense emotion, right? Whether I'm pursuing my truth or not, this feeling is there. And I said, you know what? If it's going to kill me, it's going to kill me. I'm going to stop running. I'm just going to go sit with that anxiety, right? And as I learned to do that, as I learned to be with those intense emotions and not run away and just say, okay, what are you trying to show me, right? It was always like, okay, that anxiety was not there trying to kill me. That anxiety was not there trying to stop me from being who I was. That anxiety was there as a messenger for all of these things that I was doing that were actually out of alignment with who I was, right? And the anxiety was like every time I had made a wrong turn, anytime I had made a decision or done something or built my life in a way that was based on thinking that wasn't in alignment with the truth of who I was, this anxiety started to come. And so then all of a sudden one day I wake up and my entire life feels like that, right? It's like this anxiety is just me. I thought I was anxiety. You see what I'm saying? And that is because I had built up so much resistance to my true self. And I had lived in a way that was so out of alignment with who I was that these negative emotions, right, which are our messengers, were basically all that I ever felt. And so by turning into it and saying, okay, I'm going to go into this anxiety. I'm going to go into this fear. I'm going to go into this fire. What are you doing? Why are you here? What are you trying to tell me? It wasn't trying to tell me that I'm stupid and wrong and I can't do it, right? It was trying to say, take a break. Let go of all this stuff. This isn't who you are, right? The thing that's causing you anxiety is not that you're wrong and bad and stupid and can't do it. The thing that's causing you all this anxiety is that you're living out of alignment with yourself. That's the true fear. That's the true pain. And so this is what I want you to understand, okay? Is that really that fire, that burning, that whatever, is burning away all the parts of yourself that make you feel terrible. All the ways that you're living and all the ways that you're thinking that are out of alignment with the truth of who you are. And we need to go through that fire in order to burn away all that stuff. And I know this is not the best metaphor because I don't believe that we get rid of anything. However, think of it as a transformative fire, okay? It's gonna melt all that stuff that is you have built to be who you think you need to be and what you think you need to do, and all these false beliefs about yourself are gonna melt, and they're gonna come back into a form that they have always meant to be, right? In yoga, they call it tapas, right? You go into the fire. You go into the posture and you stay in it when you want to get out of it. Because it's in that fire. It's in that ring of fire. It's in that challenge. It's in facing these fears and going forward anyways that we find ourselves. Okay? This is how it works. So if failure is coming up, if you're sucking at stuff, if you're noticing that, right, all these crazy emotions are coming up and these crazy doubts and these crazy fears and it's like so obvious you're not going to be able to do it and you can't see the path and you don't know where you're going and it's just like there's no way this could be right. Know that that's exactly right. That's how you know it's right. That's what the journey looks like. Okay? And then you have people like me who are here to say, keep going. Go into the fire. Go into the fear. Talk to your lizard and then do the thing anyways. Follow the passion anyways. Right? You're going to hit on it, you're going to run away from it, and then go back, right? Go back and keep doing it, even though everything inside of you tells you you can't, and everything inside of you tells you you shouldn't. You must go in to that ring of fire over and over and over again, and let it transform you into who you are, who you've always been. You're going to end up at the end realizing, oh, I've always been this. I went on a quest to discover this thing I already had in my pocket. Okay, but you have to go on the quest. Okay? So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. Just know that that challenge, that suffering, that trial, that intensity means that you're on the right path and you need to keep going. It's not a sign to quit. It's a sign to go forward. Okay, so go forward. All right.